Good morning, everyone!
Good morning!
Here we are, another day, living the dream. A bit later on today, as you can probably tell by the lighting. Are you alright?
I got the hiccups.
Carrie got the hiccups. We've been out for our friend Sophie Isaac's birthday. I mean, it's not really a birthday. You're right. It's a birthday like on the 20th?
20th.
So we're a couple of weeks before. But it was nice. We had a nice little brunch. Bottomless brunch.
Bottomless, yeah, it's the first bottomless brunch I've ever had.
Which is not, for the people out there thinking, what's a bottomless brunch? It's a lot of food, a lot of eggs. It's not a lot of food, it's more a lot of prosecco.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it's usually
mimosas.
timed. Oh, God. It's usually timed, so you get like 100 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it's...
We went over the 100 minutes, didn't we? But it was fun. Now we're back. Edgar's over there, as you can see. Are you alright?
I've really got the hiccups, yeah, I'm struggling. Can you pass me that?
Edgar was up a tree before, living his dream. I climbed the tree to help him, but then, as you do as a pet owner, you climb the tree. As soon as you start climbing, he starts climbing down.
I'm gonna have to drink this upside down. Do you want to see my trick for getting rid of the hiccups? You laughed at me, but actually, then you tried it and it worked. So what you do is you drink from that side, upside down. So you got this. And they should be gone.
You can't hiccup now. Now you said that. You feel alright?
Yeah, I think I'm okay.
Okay, any news?
Tomorrow is 10 days until my book comes out.
How do you feel about it?
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah. Good, I think.
Probably just excited for people to read it now, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm excited for it to be out in the world.
Yeah. Tomorrow I've got my second fitting for Hansies. The first one didn't go too well. It went fine, but it just didn't, everything wasn't right. So they've gone away, gone back to the drawing board. And tomorrow should be streamlined, hopefully.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Hansies tomorrow, which is very exciting. Like, just to try on, because when you go for a costume fitting, it's never like you try on the full thing.
Yeah.
I think people might think out there like you try on the full suit.
Yeah.
You know, if you're doing an alphabet, for example, you go on and you get the full black,
dress on.
It's never like that. It's more like they measure you and they might go away and make you a bespoke sort of version of it. They make it for you, and if you do try something on, it's all like measurements or it's a bit of cloth. It's never like the actual thing, and they'll go away and actually make the actual thing. And that's what my measurements have been like so far. I've not tried on the jacket. I've tried on like maybe a top and the trousers.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the Hans jacket, I've not seen it yet.
Yeah.
So hopefully tomorrow
You'll see a bit more of it.
I see a bit more of it, which is very exciting. Today we were out chatting about stuff, as you do at brunch, and mainly we're talking about covers and like how to cover and the way to cover and the importance of covers. And this leads on to this video, which you've seen the title by now, which is like first covers. I feel like first covers is a really important aspect and integral cog of a machine, of the musical theatre machine. And I've been a first cover. You've not covered before, but I've been a first cover, and it is important and also daunting. And I just feel like it's important to talk about, because I feel like out there might be a misconception of like what a first cover does. A lot of people say like, oh, did you audition for the part and didn't get it? Yeah. Which isn't the case. It's not like you auditioned and they're like, do you want first cover?
Yeah, it's not like a consolation prize.
Yeah, it's not. It's like you auditioned you knew you were going for first cover a long time before you got the offer. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
A lot of people also think that first covers aren't in the show and they just sit in the dressing room hoping that someone goes off sick.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things about first covers that I feel like we should just clarify, and like how to act basically, and how to conduct yourselves, and how to be a good first cover. So maybe that's the title, how to be a good first cover. So I'm going to start from the very beginning. That's a very good place to start.
Very beginning.
Okay, so what happened was the lead was ill. The first cover was on holiday. Yeah. So the second cover was on all that week. effectively, depending if the lead came back.
Yeah.
And then they said to me, hey, listen, like if the lead doesn't come back on Wednesday, you can have the matinee as a third cover, which is weird and not right, because really the second cover was, if he's in the building, he should do both shows. But I didn't know for the longest time. I didn't know if that was going to happen. So I woke up on the Wednesday morning going, am I going to make my Price debut today? And they called and said, hey, listen, you're on today because the lead is still off, he's still ill. So I went on. And which sucked a lot because I had family up north and around, and I couldn't really let them know. They didn't have the time to book tickets because they were, you know, the show was 2-3 hours away, but they were 2-3 hours away in the car. So it just couldn't, it just didn't happen. So that's very rare that would happen. I was a third cover at the time. So flash forward a year, I'm now first cover. And it's important to talk about first covers because I feel like people, like you said, people think, you know, if you're first cover, what else do you do? Yeah. And there's so many realms and so many like possibilities as a first cover, and I think people mix it up a lot. So I feel it's important to talk about a first cover. I feel like people mix a first cover with a standby.
Or an alternate.
Or an alternate. So a standby would be like you just focus on that part. That's all you do. Like, and you're not on at any point in the week unless they get ill, unless they go on holiday. So you literally stand by.
It's in the name. You stand by and wait until the person you are covering says, I cannot do today's performance, like I'm ill or I'm just not fit to do the show, and then you are first port of call. There are only a certain amount of shows though that have standbys. Not all shows have standbys.
I think the main thing is with standbys, it's like standbys have to be mainly are a part where they don't blend into the chorus that well. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You can't blend in a standby in a lot of ways, and I feel like, or it's just such a big part, you have to have a standby. Yeah. So basically, they just wait for that part. They don't have an ensemble track. They just chill. In terms of alternates, they probably do have an ensemble track, but they're guaranteed a show. Yeah, or several shows a week. Or several shows. So like John Owen Jones was the alternate Jean Valjean at the staged concert, and he did 3 shows a week out of the 8. Yeah. Or Luke McCall. Luke McCall did every Monday. Every Monday for John Robbins. So an alternate is that. So a first cover, which this video is dedicated to, is normally someone in the ensemble / swing. Normally a swing can be first cover as well. So they normally have their own track. They normally have their own thing. And they are normally guaranteed 28 shows a year. Yeah. Because there's 28 days holiday that lead has to take. So a lead will have to take those holidays. So they're guaranteed 28 days like performance. Yeah. Then plus maybe any illness in that year. Yeah. What I want to talk about in this video is that you have to be ready is the main thing. And we've talked about it tonight about other like shows we've done. And like my good friend Will Hasrow was first cover Martin McFly in Back to the Future. And normally what happens is that you finish rehearsals for the main cast, you open on the Saturday night, for example, you have the Sunday off, and then on the Tuesday or on the Monday, you start what is called cover rehearsals. And you go in and go, okay, so who are the first covers? So first covers start first because they're most important, because they are first covers and they are more likely to get on before any other covers. And then you go through the whole show. It'll probably take 2 to 4 weeks, blocking through the whole thing. You do a cover run at the end, which is, a cover run is just the swings and some ensemble members maybe and the covers. It's a very bare minimum sort of run of the show. But at that point, when that finishes, they're left to think, okay, well, you know the show now. Then we move to the second covers. And it's like a thing that happens a couple of months into a run. But so, just imagine that for a second. Doing 5 weeks of rehearsals, doing the stress of rehearsing during the day and then the preview in the evening, so performing in the evening when you get to when you open. Then you do press night, and press night is always like you go, oh, we can relax, because press night is when like the show gets locked in, rehearsals, like the reviews are out, rehearsals will have finished, you'll be doing like bits and pieces here and there, you might do a photo call
every now and again. So imagine getting to that point and going, oh, relax. Not for first covers, because they go straight into another round of rehearsals, which are just as important as the first round of rehearsals, because this is for their principal part. So if they go on, like, they need to nail it, or they'll feel like they want to be ready and prepared.
It is stress, and you know, that happens. So, you know, after the first cover round, so a couple of, like, I'm saying months later, then the second covers happen. So then the second covers come in. So my good friend Will, and your good friend as well, so Will went on for Marty McFly without rehearsal.
That makes me feel sick. I just don't understand. That's like what anxiety are made of.
We were in previews and he went on. So Ollie Dobson, who is amazing, Ollie, if you're watching, you are ridiculous, and he's just silly good. However, like, it's hard. Like, he was playing a part which is ridiculously demanding. Doing previews, doing tech, all that sort of stuff. He's always on stage, so naturally he was going to get ill, or naturally his voice was going to go. Yeah. And he went off, and everyone was like, okay, fair enough. I mean, he's playing Marty McFly. And Will went on with no cover rehearsals, so we were still trying to preview and tech the show. He went on that night in hours' notice. And again, the point of this video is, or I'm trying to stress to people out there who might be first covers one day, is to know your stuff, is to jump the gun, is to be in rehearsals, and sort of, if you're a first cover, you have to be ready. You can't wait for oh, I've not done my rehearsals yet, because they will look on you and go, hey, listen, our lead's gone off tonight, and I know it's previews, I know it's the second performance, are you ready? And when they say, are you ready, really they're saying, get on and do it. So if you have a first cover out there, just make sure you're ready, and it will always look so good on you. Oh my god, like, it will be talked about for the rest of the time. Mark Pierce, who was first cover Thénardier, opening night at the Sondheim, our gorgeous Carrie, who was playing was Thénardier, got really ill, to the point where he was then off for a long time, and we had to do a bit of like a jigsaw puzzle Thénardier play around, where the tour Thénardier came to. Well, originally Matt Lucas came back from the stage concert and then hurt his back, so then couldn't carry on playing Thénardier. So then we had Ian from the tour come in to play Thénardier, and Cameron Blakely, who had played Thénardier years before, went into the tour. So it was like a big Thénardier jigsaw puzzle. The opening night at the Sondheim, Jared can't do the show, and so Mark Pierce literally came in about 3 hours before the show and had to be rehearsed in. Literally had like 3 hours rehearsal to make sure he knew where he needed to be, and I just can't imagine that kind of stress. Opening night. And this might seem like a surprise or a rarity, but this happens.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
Like, it happens all the time. So as a cover, like, gone by, I think that's my main point tonight, is that don't wait for it.
Yeah.
Go away and learn your stuff, because you can be on.
You just never know.
You never know.
You just never know when it's going to happen.
And you are first port of call. You are first cover for a reason. And that reason being is that in the audition, they believe that you could be as good as, or equal as, or substantial as,
better than,
whatever, than the lead. Like, up there with them. You can carry the tunes well enough, and also you can do the ensemble stuff, and you are very important to the the company. You're so valuable. I think people get really confused with the first cover thing. Going like, oh, you auditioned for the lead but didn't get it. It's like, no.
That's not how this works.
No. You know, if you are a first cover, it's because you went into that pool, and you would have known at some point that you were in the first cover, second cover, third cover pool, and then they sort of decide after that.
Yeah.
It's not like you were up for the part and you're like, wait a minute, I was up for the part.
There's a whole like TikTok trend at the moment, but I think it's like high school and like Amdram, and so it's the part that you auditioned for versus the part you got. And so some people, like, they're a bit comedy, like, I auditioned for Morticia and I got Fester, like, stuff like that. So they'll sing like a part of the part they auditioned for and then sing a part from the part that they got. But that doesn't happen in professional theatre. Like, if you don't get the part that you auditioned for, it's very rare that they'll then be like, but you can play this part instead. Like, you audition for the part that you audition for, and if you don't get that part, you oftentimes just aren't in the show.
Yeah, and really, it'd be very, very rare that it's not in your own knowledge. It's not like you'd be like, oh, I'm auditioning for like Fontaine, but I've got like Madame Thénardier.
Yeah, there's no way that they'd call you up and be like, hey, you auditioned for Cosette. Yeah. You're actually going to be playing Mrs. Thénardier.
Yeah, you'd be like, what? You know, there would be some conversation where they're like, hey, listen, you're not up for Fontaine anymore, but you're up for Madame T.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
And we want you to come in and we need to hear you sing Madame T stuff.
And at that point, as an actor, you'd be like, do I want to do Madame T? No.
Yeah.
Or yes. And so it's not like a surprise. Like, surprise, you're Valjean. Like, what? Like,
I auditioned for Elsa and got Olaf.
Yeah, it's no surprise.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know if that makes any sense. I don't know if that makes sort of sense. But any questions out there about first covers, or any covers, you know, I went from third to first, so I know everything about it, really. I know all the crap that we go through. So, any questions, let me know. Put them in the comments. Anything to add?
Something that I found really helpful, I have never covered any parts before, but as I've gone through my years in musical theatre, especially when it came to like Veronica, where I was like, I don't understand how anyone can carry the track of Veronica in their head and think about anything else. Olivia Moore, who was cover Veronica, she was young Republicanette, like in the show on a normal nightly basis, cover Veronica and cover Heather McNamara. So I was like, I just don't understand how your brain works. So really early on, and Heather's changed so much, like every 20 minutes we'd be like, hey, here's new sides. So I'd always ask for double and give them to Olivia, just to like make sure that she had them. I'm sure they would have given them to her anyway, but because we only had 3 weeks to rehearse, I didn't want to pester anyone and be like, has anyone made sure Olivia's got these?
Yeah.
So I would just ask for double and just hand them to her. Because I remember Josephina as well. Josephina was amazing when we were in Les Mis. She was Madame Thénardier. And there was a couple lunches that she had with Kelly, who was cover Madame Thénardier, where she was helping her go through all of her stuff and just...
Yeah.
Because Thénardier's Inn is like really busy with like props and stuff, so she was helping her go through bits and pieces and just helping her out basically. So when you've got like really busy tracks, or when you're in like the thick of it in rehearsals and it's like really hard to focus on what the first covers are doing because they aren't in rehearsals yet, and like the director's just trying to get the show in some kind of shape for opening night and trying to get it up on its feet. No one's thinking about the first covers until they get to their rehearsals.
Yeah, the week after, yeah.
But there are so many instances where one of the principals goes off way before that part. So just as a principal, it's always just nice to be as helpful as you can.
Yeah. I'm not stressing the point before about saying there's no right or wrong time to go on. Like, you can go on in previews as a first cover. So just to be as proactive as you can in rehearsals is a really good thing. Like, I remember my good friend Ross Hunter, who was first cover Elder Price before me, the year before me, and in rehearsals, like, he was watching the prize, and I could see him in the wings going, like, you know, doing everything, listening to the notes that our prize was getting given, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Just be in the wings and just go over it and try to jump the gun, I guess. Yeah. Because it can happen. And it's no like, oh my god, the lead's gone off, what's going to happen? It's like, well, the first cover's going to go on. Like, and regardless of if you've had a proper rehearsal, you are at that point sort of, expected to know it, which sucks. And I can imagine it sucks. Because when I was first cover, I knew the show because I already did a year. So if they were like, you're on tonight, I'm like, okay, cool, I've done a year as third cover. So I like eased my way in. Like, I knew the show as a third cover. So I knew I was never going to be on. So I was like, okay, cool, if they ask me to be Price, yeah, okay, I'm ready. But I mean, that means this person's got to be ill, this person's got to be on holiday, and this person's got to be ill as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that needed to go off before you got a chance.
So yeah, I mean, I had it easy. But as first covers, I think it's really important to sort of stress that you sort of have to be ready. Yeah. Which is scary, but really important.
And it could be like, there could be huge gaps between you between you going on. So you might go on in January, but the person you're covering hasn't got any holiday until the end of March and doesn't go off sick till the end of March. You've got like 3 months between playing the same part.
Yeah, I found that as well when I did go on for my cover. I would find that the first couple of days, I'm like, oh my god, are you all right? Is this fine? Is this, if I do this, is this fine? Is this what he normally does? And they're like, oh, it's great. And then after like the first couple of days, half a week in, so I did a week. By the Friday, Saturday, I'm loving my life because I'm like, I know this now. Then the lead will come back and be in the role for, say, another 4 months, 5 months, have another holiday, and it'd be like the same thing again. I'd be like, is this what he does? Because you forget, you forget, and it's natural to forget. Yeah, very interesting. Okay, so that's it really, about first covers mainly. Any questions, put them down below. I'd like to hear your questions. Anything to add?
I think so.
Yeah. Well, have a good day out there. Be safe out there. Don't forget to be on top of your game. If someone's like, be on top of your game, you're like, I'm already on top of my game. Yeah? Bye!